This is episode 93 of the EdTech Takeout from Grantwood AEA. My name is Jonathan Wiley, and here is Mindy Carney.
Hello, hello.
Still making podcast episodes in May.
I know. I thought, is this it? Is this it for the summer? Or you have an idea? Do you have an idea? I thought I need to have a talk with Wiley. Are we done for the school year, or are we still going? What's the plan?
We're still going for now, I guess.
Oh,
are we having the conversation now, or
I don't know. On air? I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I thought this would be a good topic that we could dip into before we close out for the summer. And we need to give people warning, I think, before we close out for the summer too. We should just stop, should we?
Yeah. I don't know. Do people care enough? Are they like, oh, that must have been it?
Yeah, maybe not.
Because when I go on vacation, man, I'm out. Goodbye.
I know it. I know. It's like you don't hear from Mindy at all for a couple of months.
Yeah, I love it. Mm-hmm. All right. So news and follow-up. You've got a list here.
I got a list here. First thing on the list is a tweet I saw from Mote. And we've talked about Mote before, the audio comments that you can add into Google. And so they've added Mote for docs now, apparently, as of May 3rd. So you can now do Motes for comments. You can do it for Classroom. You can do it for slides, for Gmail, for forms. And you can now do it inside of a Google Doc. You just highlight the text that you want to add a Mote audio link to, and click on your extension there and record your Mote. Put it in there.
Your Mote note?
Your Mote note,
Your memo note? Wonder how they came up with Mote.
I feel like maybe memo note would be a good one, but
yeah, it's a good try anyway. I'm not sure if that's right, but makes sense.
All right, I also have we talked about IconsMania in a previous show.
Also from SlidesMania, IconsMania.
They have a fun video out that I thought maybe you might like, or definitely maybe I could see Lynn Kleinmeyer playing with these two. But how to create digital stickers using their icons. Yeah. And you know how, stickers that you get on a sticker sheet where you peel it and they have that outline that goes around the outside where it got cut from the vinyl cutter and stuff. So she shows you how to use her icons and put them into Google Slides and create like a really fun kind of sticker out of them where you can put text underneath them, save them as transparent PNGs, and then you can put them anywhere you want. So
they are darling. Oh, yeah. I love this. Okay, I'm going to leave this tab open. I'm going to come back and check that out for sure.
Next up, we saw this on Gina Rogers' Voxer messages. But Zoom has something called an Immersive View now that will put 25 people inside of one virtual background. Mm-hmm. It's
bizarre. It's a little bizarre, you have to admit.
Yeah, it was a little bit bizarre. I think it depends on the background you choose and where you put the people. But the example they have here almost looks like a Last Supper painting sort of thing with all these people sitting at the one table. Yeah. But they're not really there.
The Last Supper in their futuristic office. Yeah.
Did Gina have it like they were on there was like tiers or something? Like different stadium seats or something like that?
Yeah, it was super funny. But, for a team meeting, if you're looking for something different or to shake something up, I thought it was super entertaining. Because, we kind of tried to do this with our holiday card at the end of 2020 where we, were like trying to do like high fives with one another. And I don't know, it could really be a way to do something creative for the first couple minutes of a meeting just to kind of get everybody talking and thinking and whatever. So
I wonder, if you had a class of the right size, what it would look like if you put all your students in the same place, and it would be like they were all sitting in the same virtual room together instead of all in little boxes. So I don't know. Sure. It might be something fun to play with.
All right. So SeeSaw update.
Yeah.
Yes. So they've introduced something called Progress, which is a premium feature. So you have to have a SeeSaw for Schools subscription, but I feel like it's just kind of an upgrade to skills. And we kind of talked about this off air. I'm not sure how many people are using skills within our school district. I kind of feel like you have to be kind of a power user to get to that point where you're using skills or using skills effectively. But it's supposed to help you track a little bit about where your students are at, how many pieces of evidence they have. You can only use this on the web, though. You are not able to use this in the mobile edition.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so I think they were hoping to get it out to teachers before the end of the school year. And so they just wanted to push this update out because they knew it would be beneficial for teachers that are, doing like progress reports or grades or communicating with families where students are at, especially because students could be all over the place, especially this year. So they only pushed it out to the web, knowing that it would be coming hopefully for the mobile edition later in the future. So it might be something, if you haven't been into skills lately, you might want to take a look. It's going to show up right in your dashboard or journal activities inbox. It now says progress as opposed to what it used to say was skills. So might be something to take a look at. If you haven't been using skills, probably not the time to start that up in May, but definitely something to keep in mind maybe for next year as you start the year with your SeeSaw for Schools count.
Yeah, as you look ahead, maybe that's something you can plan ahead to take a look at. And if you are an AEA school and you are looking to get started with skills, then I'll put Mindy's email address in the show notes and you can send her a message.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, last but not least.
But most bizarre.
Yes.
Some bizarre.
Things that make you go, huh? Kahoot acquires Clever for $500 million. What do you think of that, Mindy?
I mean, they're not associated in any way, shape, or form as far as, tech tools are concerned. Clever and Kahoot they're not the same type of tool. Kahoot must really be growing. It's probably a really great investment for them because I think Clever is definitely a great tool. It's a powerful tool. Lots of schools use it. If you don't know what Clever is, it's a way to have kind of like a single sign-on for your students. Works really well with younger kids, I think. But as you know, Kahoot is like a quizzing, gaming system. So those two that's interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. The EdSurge article here said that it was a better deal for Clever than it was for Kahoot, but I don't know because Clever haven't been quite as popular as in recent years, but I don't know. They bought whiteboard.fi, didn't they, as well, Kahoot? So
yeah, just recently, right?
Yeah, so they must be looking at expanding their reach in the edtech market.
All right, so up next, main course served to you piping hot is Teachers Pay Teachers.
Wow.
We're going to go there today. Yeah, we're going to go there today. We've talked about Teachers Pay Teachers, the two of us, lots of times, and I feel like many a time during episodes we've made comments here and there about Teachers Pay Teachers, and then I get this random box from Jonathan Wiley, and he's like, hey, let's just talk about Teachers Pay Teachers. Let's just put it out there. And I'm like, okay, sounds good.
Every time we bring it up in the show, I feel like it is a reasonably controversial thing, and everybody has their opinions and views on it. And in the past, I've always thought, look, let's just not deal with that right now. It's going to derail us, take us down the wrong path. But today, we're going to go down that path and see where it leads.
And then we're going to go on vacation, and we're not coming back.
Turning off
for a long time.
Emails, notifications, everything else.
Well, I mean, if you don't know what Teachers Pay Teachers is, then a little overview is that it is a online platform where teachers can go to research and find materials that other teachers or people have created for their classrooms or for classroom experiences.
Yeah. It's an online marketplace, I guess.
Right. Yeah, right.
Anyone can sell on Teachers Pay Teachers, whether they are a teacher or not.
Anyone. Mm-hmm.
Anyone, yep. So we'll come back to that maybe.
Yep. Okay.
But before you can sell, you have to upload at least one free resource. So,
right.
I mean, that's there are free things on Teacher Pay Teachers, and there are paid things on Teachers Pay Teachers.
Right.
And the way it works, creators, people who are selling on there, I think they're called Teacher Pay Teacher authors.
Oh, okay.
They can choose between two different types of accounts. So as a seller, you can get the free basic account, or you can pay for a premium membership that sells for $60 a year. And that just adjusts the cut that you give to TPT when you sell something. So basic membership means that you would get 55% and they would get 45% of all sales. But if you're a premium member, you get 80% of the revenue on resources you sell, and Teacher Pay Teachers gets 20%. If you're a school administrator, you can actually set up a school account and give funds to your teachers. I didn't know that either. That was research for the show here. I found that out.
Nice.
Yeah,
well
so if you have a lot of teachers using it, you could set up your own school account and put funds in it for people. And teachers can also set up a TPT class fund for parents, friends, or family, or just about anyone else that wants to donate money to you. And then you use that money to spend on Teachers Pay Teachers. So almost like a donor's choose.
Yeah.
And then you say, hey, give me some money so that I can buy things on TPT. And people give you money, and then you have to spend it there. So
I guess I didn't know that this was a thing either, but I did know that you can buy like gift cards for Teachers Pay Teachers, because I've seen that before, like especially during like Teacher Appreciation Week. First of all, don't ever give a teacher like a gift card to go buy stuff for her classroom or his classroom.
What would you suggest instead?
Now that I'm outside of the classroom, I can say that. Please stop doing that. Don't buy your teacher something as a thank you gift that she or he has to use in his or her classroom. Get him a gift card for a restaurant.
Gift cards are good ideas, but yes, like restaurants or Target or, places like that are good because, you're giving gifts to people at the end of the year. Then, it's good to have some flexibility on where you want to spend that. And you want to spend it on you and relax and switch
I
off
certainly do. I don't think we should be surprised by that at all. So that being said, okay, so now we've kind of talked a little bit about what Teacher Pay Teachers is.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, first of all, some of the good things about Teacher Pay Teachers. Now, when I was in the classroom, certainly bought things from Teachers Pay Teachers. I mostly did free things. However, I did buy a few things here and there because I was not ready for the day. And so the morning of, I was scrambling, trying to find or create something that I needed for something I was doing that day. And I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe Teachers Pay Teachers has something that will fit into this, what I need here. And so it's really great if you're kind of in a bind and you don't have time to create something yourself.
Right. So it's like a time saver. Yep. It
is. Sure.
You could go out and make this, but it would take a long time. And Teachers Pay Teachers is right there. All you have to do is click buy and download, and it's yours. And I guess maybe, to go alongside that, there may be, kind of like the flip scenario of that, where you know what you want, but you don't really know how to make it. You don't have the skills or ideas maybe to think about, how can I make this topic come to life? I would love to do this, but I've never done that before. I don't know how to do that. And if someone's already done it for you and it's there on Teachers Pay Teachers, then I guess it makes sense just to use that.
And the other thing I would say is that I always felt like when I was purchasing things for Teachers Pay Teachers, that at least I was paying another peer or professional that probably, was using Teachers Pay Teachers as a little bit of what we lovingly call a side hustle, right? So there are very few opportunities, I think, for teachers to do something like that they can use their expertise to make a little extra cash. And there's just not a lot of opportunities. We're not being paid well. And so it's a great opportunity for those teachers that are creative, that are creating things for their classrooms to make a little extra cash. I can get on board with that. I think that's great. I think it's unfortunate that we have to do that we have to sell our ideas, but maybe that's a con. Maybe that's further down the list. I don't know, but that's a system problem, right? Is that we have professionals that feel like they have to, sell ideas here or there to make some extra cash. But
yeah, I mean, in many ways, teaching is just one of those really, unique occupations because, you end up doing things like spending your own money to purchase things for your kids and stuff like that. And, some of that comes down to not being given, the materials that you think you need in order to teach something. And, like you said, teaching is not known for being the best compensated position out there. So, teachers are going to look for other positions. They are going to look to do other things in the summer. They're going to look to do other things on the side just to help, make up that shortfall that they think they need in order to have a good standard of living. So Teachers Pay Teachers does give them that opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm sure some of those teacher pay teachers on there, I've seen interviews with them in other blog posts and things, and they use the money that they get from Teachers Pay Teachers to buy things for their classroom. It's not just to, help put food on the table. It's to, stop them spending their own money on supplies and things that they would buy for their classroom. They use their income to, from TPT to help buy things for their classroom.
Which is also unfortunate, right? It's unfortunate that we're in that situation, that's something that has to be done. So, but it is, it's a creative outlet for people too. Sure. I would imagine, look at all of the materials, we talked about SlidesMania and IconsMania, right? That's a creative outlet for the creator of those things. And so I'm sure there's people that I enjoy doing that type of stuff. Absolutely. I'm lucky that in my position, I can hand those things out for free or send them to people or make copies of them and be like, oh, here you go. So it's an opportunity for sure that, teachers are taking advantage of. And that's great.
So it's a time saver. It offers creative ideas that you may not have come across before. And it gives teachers a chance to earn a little bit extra money for supplementing their income. Right. Let's flip over to the cons. Yeah, because not everybody is fully supportive of the idea of teacher pay teachers. And what do you think the biggest reason for that is, Mindy?
I think it depends on who you're asking. I would say that a lot of the argument that I have seen about teachers pay teachers is the copyright issues within teachers pay teachers. So the people that I've seen most vocal about it, I think, are those that share ideas and are creating things for free, and people take those and take their ideas and put it into teacher pay teachers, and people are paying for the ideas of others. So the biggest challenge, I think, is the copyright around teachers pay teachers, and that not necessarily those things aren't researched and vetted by teachers pay teachers. So just because you find it on teachers pay teachers doesn't mean it's good. Cute does not mean that it's good. And quite frankly, to be honest with you, if you feel like you're not creative enough to create those things, that software is bought by people. All of those cutesy things that people are putting on those digital worksheets or placemats or cards or whatever is, purchased software by them. Kids don't need that type of stuff to learn, and in fact might find it very distracting. So, make a box and put a title in it and have kids do that. You don't need a cute little character on it to make it worthy of your students. It's the idea and the thought and the work that students are doing around something like that makes it more powerful than the cute character that's on it.
All right, let me pull you back a bit. So, copyright, yes, I 100% agree with that first point. There's two things I've seen with that have been problematic. One is where people package up things that are freely available, like YouTube videos and, other graphics that are freely available on the web. And I know you could say, and you could absolutely argue, what they've done here is package stuff together in a way that you may not have thought about before. However, all that stuff is free, and a lot of the time it is not owned by that person. Right. And then they're selling it. And you don't have that right to do that. And like you said, the approval policy from TPT is fairly generous, let's say. Yeah.
Well, and I've seen too that people have reported like, hey, this item is my original thought and it's being sold there. And that teachers pay teachers can be somewhat radio silent when it comes to something like that. So, and those are just claims that I've seen people make. It doesn't, whether or not those things are true or not true or whatever, I'm just kind of spitting out the things that I've seen people complaining about. So.
Yeah. And the other thing I saw recently in a blog post was these textbook publishers like Heinemann, when they're creating their language textbooks, they will often hire authors to write pieces for their textbooks. So they're paying people to write for their textbooks, and then they're selling their textbooks. And there was a case where they paid these poets to write a poem, and then there was countless examples on Teachers Pay Teachers of people who had copy and pasted that poem and put like question sets and things underneath it. And Heinemann were saying, you can't do that. That is that's our content. And you're just using it for your own profit when we have already paid for the rights to that intellectual property. So that is problematic, the copyright thing for sure.
Yeah. And, I know that we talk to teachers about that all the time as far as, if you're taking stuff from a textbook, I understand if you, want to create some questions around that or whatever, you have to be very careful about copying and pasting content from somewhere else and plopping it into something that you're creating, because just in general, that's a copyright issue. So, and then if you put it out to be sold or to share with others, you really can get yourself into some trouble.
Yeah. And the unfortunate thing is, like, you as a teacher, as a buyer on that website, you're not always going to know if this content is in breach of copyright. You assume that because it's on sale here, it's okay for you to buy it. Like, you don't go to Amazon and wonder about whether this seller has the right to sell this item. You just, you take that for granted.
Yeah. And I would say even people who have made that mistake before aren't doing it maliciously. They're doing it because they want to do what's best for their kids. And they know that, this, whatever they're creating is a way to get them thinking about things or whatever without really thinking about or knowing even. I mean, some of it's just not understanding all of the, things around copyright. So definitely a challenge within Teachers Pay Teachers for sure.
And you also talked about the quality.
I know I did kind of go off there, didn't I?
Yeah, or at least the all the fancy chevron borders and all the rest that people put on there. And I think you're right. In some research for this show, I noticed that TPT has artificial intelligence that scans through lessons that are uploaded, looking for specific keywords or things that may flag inappropriate things. But, an AI is only as good as the people that program it, I guess, for their approval process. So that's kind of where you're thinking the moderation. There's not an actual human that's looking over every piece thinking, this is good or this is not good. And that has led to some other problems too, because I got a quote here from Ed Surge about a recent study of the most popular lessons for high school English classes on Teachers Pay Teachers. They were rated either as mediocre or probably not worth using when compared to two other lesson sharing sites, ReadWriteThink and ShareMyLesson. The materials on Teachers Pay Teachers scored the lowest. So, it's hard to know what you're getting sometime. There was also a school district in Wisconsin that had to put several teachers on leave following a lesson on ancient Mesopotamia downloaded from Teachers Pay Teachers, which asks students to decide how to punish a slave.
Oh my gosh.
And so, yeah, that was problematic too, especially given the racial tensions that we have in our country.
Certainly.
Yeah, so those lessons did get removed and they're no longer there, but it's the things that slip through the cracks, the things that people, I don't know, you've really got to be careful about what you find on there and how you use stuff on there, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I would say, and I understand why they do it this way too, but you can see small little previews of what you're purchasing, but you don't necessarily get the whole shebang either. Mm-hmm. So you are purchasing somewhat blindly, and then to get something like that, in a packet or something like that, you're like, oh, geez, I didn't even look at this page number 7 here to know that, and here we are, we're talking about it in class, and I wasn't prepared at all. So, certainly. So you mentioned a couple other, ShareMyLesson. I think I've been there, but I haven't looked into that at all. Do you pay for lessons on ShareMyLesson?
No, ShareMyLesson is free, and so is ReadWriteThink. Yeah.
Yeah. So those are good alternatives too, to go and take a look at those things too. I know Teachers Pay Teachers is super popular and might be the first place that you go, but those are a couple other places that you could go and look and see if there are things that might be beneficial.
And I think the other big thing that people will talk to you a lot about in terms of Teacher Pay Teachers would be, wouldn't it just be nice to share things for free? Like people do on that ReadWriteThink or ShareMyLesson, for the good of the community and for all the kids in our education system, and then we get into things like open educational resources, which are exactly designed for that. Here's a resource. You can use it any way you want. You can modify it. Just give credit to the original person and, it's yours for free.
Well, and I think I saw this on the show notes somewhere that you've talked about this is, the other thing that I know has been brought up is if you're using your school computer or software that's been given to you by your school or, while you're in your classroom, does that intellectual property belong to you or to the school? Yeah,
that is definitely something else to think about. I don't know if that's a pro or a con, but that's if you are doing this as a seller. I know we have rules about that at Grant Wood, and I know other school districts have rules about that too. Are you using school property to profit from other things? I mean, in some ways, maybe you're getting professional development at your school for free from, the district to do things, and then you're using that to create paid materials. I would just say it's a gray area, maybe, that you would need to just think about and be careful when you're selling resources.
I mean, we have to get approval if we're doing anything outside of our core job, right? So even if we were to leave our AEA area and go to a different area and they've decided that they will pay us to present or whatever, we have to have all of that approved because the intellectual property that we're probably sharing is also Grant Wood's, so it's, even for anything like that, I think it's just a good conversation to have and make sure that you've asked those questions before it's too late, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And maybe, you could also say, whether you think this is a pro or a con, but, is Teacher Pay Teachers helping you grow as an educator? Are you growing and learning from other people because of what you are seeing and using on Teacher Pay Teachers? Sure. And if you are, awesome. If it's giving you great ideas, if it's giving you inspiration, if it's making you think next time I'm going to make this myself, or I could maybe put a spin on that, then awesome. But if it's not, if it is only like a stopgap thing, if it's only I'm completely stuck, what should I do? Then maybe there's other ways that you could spend your money that would make you better at what you do, online classes or books or webinars or PD or something, just as an alternative. If you're genuinely looking for how to be a better teacher, then maybe those would be other options you could look at.
It's a challenging conversation because I think the two of us can see both sides of this. And I've watched arguments about this on the Twitters for years. And so it's super interesting to see people that have been on both sides of it as well. Like, hey, I find really great resources on Teachers Pay Teachers. They help save me time. They are help me think about organizing. Like I think about, like graphic organizers, things like that. Ways to organize things I hadn't thought of before or whatever. But I've also seen a lot of people kind of like we mentioned that are like, these are my original ideas and someone else is taking them and making them their own and making money off of it, which is a challenge too. So I think you just have to be very careful, right? I mean, that's our biggest piece of advice is that if you're going to go there, make sure the materials are, worthy of your students and just be careful with copyright. If you're the creator of those things too, just be very careful.
Yeah, and I think it's a good conversation worth having because, I think there's also people out there who don't know about the potential cons to teacher pay teachers. They just see it as this is a resource and I can use it whenever I need it. Right. And that's great. And, if you're getting value from it, more power to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But just to be aware that there is another side to it, and
there's a dark side of teachers pay teachers.
Well, yeah, I mean, you don't have controversial topics without another side to it. So this is the other side to it. We just wanted to give both sides and try and present it in a fair way and let people make their own decisions from there. If you have more ideas on the topic of teachers pay teachers, let us know. Find us on Twitter.
Yeah, for sure.
We can do some follow-up on the next episode. Pros or cons, something we missed or didn't talk about. Yeah. We'd be happy to hear your thoughts.
So on to my favorite part of the show. Up next, Tech Nuggets. I was frantically 10 minutes before this episode like, oh God, did I go in and put in my Tech Nuggets? I think I did. I think I've got Tech Nuggets in there. I hope I've got Tech Nuggets. Look at me, how well planned I was. I had Tech Nuggets before today, already in the show notes.
I would go one step further and say you had Tech Nuggets in before me.
I know, which never happens.
I went to the doc and I said, oh, Mindy's already got her Tech Nuggets in. So
I do. Yeah, I do. I had two I knew right away. I came across them and I was like, oh, wow, I've got 2 Tech Nuggets for a next episode. I don't even know what that next episode is, but I have them. I'm ready.
Well, since you're ready, let's go.
Okay. All right. So this first one is called Literacy Shed. I mentioned earlier that I'm reading the book, The Learning Challenge. This website was mentioned in the book, The Learning Challenge. It is a lot of little short videos that promote conversation and discussions that I used to use these little bits and pieces of videos, especially like the Disney shorts, to talk about visualization and inferences. And so lots of little videos that you can go in and click on to share with your students and hopefully prompt writing, discussion, like I said. And they're just kind of fun. So a new spot to find little clips of videos.
Yeah, I just clicked on, what did I click on here? I clicked on the film trailer shed. And they got some film trailers from True Heart and La Luna and Brave. Yeah. And just some ideas underneath about how you could use a trailer to promote conversation and some literacy opportunities. So I like that, Mindy.
Yeah, it's a good one.
My next one is also a literacy one, which hopefully I haven't done before. It looked familiar to me, but I don't remember talking about it on the podcast. So listeners, if you've heard it, you've got a better memory than I have. It's called Verse by Verse. It is a Google project. And I found out about this one via Larry Ferlazzo's blog.
Okay.
And so this is an experimental AI-powered website that will help you compose poetry as inspired by classic American poets. So there's a button here. You type, let's write a poem, and it asks you to choose up to 3 of your favorite American poets. So you can just click on 1 or 2 here. So I'll do Walt Whitman and Edgar Allan Poe. Let's do Emily Dickinson too. And once you have your poets, you click next, and then you choose the type of poem that you would like to have. So you can have a quatrain, a couplet, or a free verse, and the number of syllables for each line of verse, and then the rhyming pattern that you would like to use. So these are all great vocabulary, things to talk about for literacy and make sure students have an understanding of that. You go through and then you write your first line here. So I will write, what an amazing sunny day.
Now what do I do?
And then you hit enter. And then you will see some suggestions from each of the poets. So I have, what an amazing sunny day. And then Walt Whitman says, bright as the sunset, full in the breeze. Wow. And I can select that maybe as my second line. And I can come on and do another line in here together and keep going through. And as I build my poem, I can see suggestions from this AI-powered poet on the side, and I can use their ideas or maybe use some of their ideas and edit some of their ideas because, the language that they choose is sometimes a little oldie-worldy, as you may expect.
Oldie-worldy.
Yes.
Oldie-worldy.
Oldie-worldy. And you can modify that to, make your needs, I guess. So
this is fun.
Verse by verse, you and some classic American poets can...
Get your homework done, kids.
Get your homework done.
Oh, that one's kind of fun. Oh, I like that. Okay. My next one is called Helper Bird. I got this one from Building Bridges. I sat through a session with Cami, and I hope I say Cami's name correctly. I think it's Gallion and Gina Rogers. This was actually Cami's presentation, though, that she shared. I believe it was originally from Stacy Beamer, but so Helper Bird is an extension that is an accessibility extension. So within those features, it has text-to-speech, OCR, there's dyslexia support, there is dictation, has immersive reader, there is a really nice annotation on any website type of thing where you can put sticky notes on websites. There's picture dictionary, lots of different things. Now, what I will tell you is, of course, not all of those things are free, but there are lots of features that are free within there. So you have the ability to change the spacing between words. You can give it a grayscale. You can eliminate clutter, those types of things. So really nice. I actually think the free version of Helper Bird is actually pretty powerful in itself. It has the font options, like I mentioned, for the open dyslexic, so it's got a heavy bottom for the font. You can change the font size. I think I mentioned word spacing already, how the text is aligned. So yeah, a couple of things in there, even with the free version, that I think are worth taking a look at.
Yeah, this potentially is like that one extension to rule them all, that it does so much in here. And, like you said, you don't get it all for free. But the stuff you do get for free is pretty generous. When I first looked at the list here of what you get and what you don't get, I didn't scroll down past text features. And then they have like content features and then display features and navigation features and all the other things they have on there. So they have a lot of great stuff on there. That this could be one of those no-brainer extensions you could just give to all your kids. And then for the kids that maybe need that little bit more, then you can look at those paid options on there too.
Yeah, I mean, for the paid options too, like for one specific student, just one account, it's $40 a year. But for schools with unlimited users, it says request a quote, but right underneath that, it's $100 a month. And if you think about that, for unlimited users, $100 a month for an entire school district, that's not bad. Yeah. So definitely one to take a look at, I think.
All right, so my last tech nugget on here is a new one I came across, but I think it might be a nice one just to tie a bow on our conversation today.
Okay.
I believe it's pronounced Kialo. Kialo?
Okay. Either one of those are a real good try.
Yeah.
So
I watched a video on it, and I feel like they said Kialo. So it's Kialo EDU, and there is a public option as well that's not specifically for educators, Kialo.com, but Kialo-edu.com is the education version. And I think what drew me to this was the critical thinking part of it, because whenever I talk to schools and things about the 4 C's and we're doing creativity, easy one to find a bunch of tools for. Communication, we can get all those. Collaboration, there's all the Google stuff. But critical thinking, I say things like, well, there's coding, and then there's define STEM, and then I start to run out of things to say. So Kialo is going to be an extra one I'm going to throw here in my toolkit, because it lets you have constructive debates in your classroom in an online setting. So it could be great for virtual learning, but it could also be great for face-to-face, because you could take a debate, something like, I don't know, maybe teachers pay teachers, and you can have pros and cons down both sides, almost like a flowchart of ideas as people come up with what their pros and cons are on a specific topic. You can vote up or down specific topics so that they rise to the top. And then if there's a specific topic that you think needs more explanation, or you have another reason to go into that, you can click on that topic and then add another comment into it as well. So it really gives students, I think, a really rich environment for them to have robust conversations around a topic and to really put forward their points of view on something. And it seems to be completely free. So Kialo EDU is my last tech nugget.
Nice. I think I've seen this before, but I have an account, but I don't have anything in it. So I don't know. Good one.
Yeah. I think definitely upper elementary or middle high school for sure could get some value out of this one.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, before we go, maybe we should just give a shout out to Diana from the Boone Community School District. She's a K4 technology integration coach and an online kindergarten teacher. God bless her.
Yeah.
She wrote us an amazing email about how much she enjoys the podcast. She says we're providing a great resource. She appreciates the pacing, the relevant topics, and of course, the tech nuggets.
Tech nuggets.
You know, I had an idea about tech nuggets, Mindy.
Oh.
And I'm just going to pitch it to you here live on the show.
Okay. Yeah, no, let's do this. What?
So we're getting close to episode 100.
We are.
Maybe we should have a big tech nugget bonanza on episode 100.
Okay.
To celebrate our 100th episode.
So we're going to move National Tech Nugget Day to just 100th episode day?
We're going to do National Tech Nugget Day as well.
Okay. Oh, I see. I better start stocking up now.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. Maybe we could get a guest on or two to help us with these tech nuggets.
Yeah, that would be fun.
You know, find a big fan of tech nuggets and bring them on here to help us out a bit.
Nugget slam. Got it.
All right.
Okay.
Just a few more episodes to go.
Okay. Well, I mean, 7 is still a ways away.
It's going to be after the summer. I agree. Yeah.
Yes. Right. All right.
So I think that's everything we have for this episode. I don't know if this is going to be our last one before the summer or not.
I know.
I got a feeling maybe it won't be, but maybe we'll do one more. I don't know.
Okay.
We'll see if we can schedule that in or not.
Okay. I'm trying to squeeze one more in.
Either way, I can still say until next time.
This has been the EdTech Takeout. We hope it hit the spot.
For more information on today's episode, please visit dlgwaea.org/podcast.